Good day, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This is Furley Almonte, your host for Faces of Resilience, Top Talent JV Edition. We are actually doing a marathon right now, a marathon of podcasts, because we're bringing in guests that I actually have met through the Top Talent Forum. Because, as I've said, that when you are actually in the right community where you network with the people who are actually very committed to lifting you up to the best that you can become, well, you cannot help but brag about them and spotlight them, such as this incredible man that I am going to introduce to you. So, first of all, let me read to you his bio, because when I got to meet him, I said, wow, this is very different, because he is the teacher of teachers. He is the coach of coaches. He is like, he is the healer of healers and so many other things. And he has also created the art of peaceful living. He is a mindset coach, a meditation leader, a yoga instructor, inspirational speaker, and the giver of SMS technique, which I'm sure you will explain later. And his work is widely known internationally. And Sid is the architect of and creator of the art of living peaceful. Oh, wait, I didn't say that right. The art of peaceful living, right?
Yeah,
Sid is
yeah.
an international best-selling author of 6 books. Yes, world-renowned motivational speaker and transformation coach. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome to the show Sid McNair. Woohoo! How
Awesome.
are
Thank
you,
you.
my dear?
I'm doing great. Couldn't complain. I every day I go out and surf. So today I've already surfed and so my mind is clear and now I'm here with you. So I feel great.
Wow. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Service. When you think about service, like you have already done your deed for the day, the good deed for the day, to be able to be of service. Wow, that is absolutely phenomenal. Now, what did you do specifically that you said that you have served some people?
Well,
What's
what
so
I said was
specific?
I surfed already today, as
You
in
served.
surfing, like on the
Oh,
water, on the
serve.
ocean. Yes.
Okay, my
And I've
mistake.
also served
Serve.
people today too, though. Yet I've come into this place where I had to really dig in and recharge myself. That was something that going from being a college football coach to being a world traveling yogi to a healer and all those things, I hit burnout at each and every one of those stages. And
Mhm.
so what has taken place for me now is to really having to understand how can I find balance again so that I could move forward in the way that I'm expressing now and let go of this need to learn the lesson of burnout again. So
Yeah.
yeah,
First of all, let's talk for a moment about surfing, right?
okay.
Like I love, because as you were talking about, finding balance, the vision that I have in my mind is you on a surfboard. Obviously, you have to have core balance to be able to maintain, like your position there. I may not be saying it in the right way, but but for whatever it is, like I see that being cleansing, and it's also being able to relieve you of burnout. You obviously have accomplished an incredible, um, an incredible resume from what you have done. You've actually coached football teams, right? And
Yes. Yeah.
and that you said that you're a yogi and you teach, like a yoga instruction and meditation, and you also motivate people. Now, I would love to know, where did that all come from?
Well, I started playing sports when I was 7 years old, and at 8 years old, I was put on a uh, traveling team, and our coach taught us meditation when I was 8. And so that carried with me through my sports life. All the coaches, for some reason, that I played for, whether it was soccer or football or track and field, all the different things that I did, I had coaches that would teach us to meditate and still our mind and get connected that way. So then when I left coaching sports and or playing sports and went into coaching, it was natural for me to help my players meditate. So that's that's when 1992, 93 is when I started learning to teach others to meditate and quiet their mind. And so that was that, and then that carried with me, and it went all the way through sports, and then it was like, okay, now I'm in yoga. I've gotten myself back, and let's see where I can go. And that's when it, really kicked in for me to bring meditation to other people.
That's actually phenomenal because right now there's people are stressed out, people are burnt out, and I could just imagine because when I think of football, everybody's like so pumped up, right? Like everybody's like on fire. Like how do you ground them? So it's almost like I never saw football and meditation in the same place, and so you have actually put it in a whole different perspective. And did you play professionally as well?
Well, at 15, I went and played European football, because I played both over in England. So I did that for a while, and then I wanted to stay and only make soccer the rest of my life. My parents were like, "No, you're 15," and that was before other people started doing that. So then I came back home and I changed sports because I was upset with my parents. And then when I went to college, I went back to playing soccer, and then I went to coaching football, and then I went to coaching soccer. So for whatever reason, for some strange reason, I was always going back and forth in sports, and which has given me the access to helping people from all sports really find that place to really become elite in their own sport, whatever it is. And what I love now is like I'm on retainer with coaches that are collegiate coaches, and then so I fly and coach them while they coach their players, and so
Mm.
that's been very rewarding. It's pretty fun.
Now, how is that happening right now? Because the whole idea of our show right now is about entrepreneurs rising and thriving during pandemic. Because obviously, sports is a contact sports, and obviously you coach the coaches. But how is the current situation right now affecting their serenity and their ability to coach?
Yeah, I mean, I've had guys fly in, to like stay at the hotel nearby and then spend the day with me, and we'll walk the beach, we'll talk, we'll have sessions inside, and start to really look at, okay, what's the difference that someone can make now with their players that's different than what it was. Now meetings are on Zoom, so then all of a sudden I know with one basketball team I'm flying out to see in a couple weeks, all of their players are away for 3 weeks, their basketball team. And so now it's different because no one used to think that it was like, go free for all, go away, go do what you do. Now it's, okay, go away and let's see if we can get together and just have a conversation. How can they connect in a way that is a sign of the times, so that good morning coach on Zoom is different than what it was to just send somebody a text message, say good morning and move on. It's like finding different ways to motivate, whether it's sending a video message that like, okay, today get up and I want you to think about this, 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 and now let me know what you did with that today. So there's a lot of different ways, and the transition from when I coached to what these guys are dealing with now the place to win is between the ears. It's the mental game.
Mhm.
It's the mindset. And so that's a huge thing.
Yeah, the mindset keeps coming back up over and over whenever I interview, because everything that we think about basically translate into our action. During this pandemic, aside from the fact that we are challenged, with our ability to connect with people and spend time with them, a lot of people have also lost loved ones. And there was actually an article that you have posted on Facebook that actually touched my heart. And
Uh,
that your post about your son. Can you please share with the audience what that was all about? Because so many people right now have lost loved ones. I personally, in my own family, have lost loved ones to COVID, among other things. And it's heart wrenching, and sometimes you forget how it is to live in peace and with some degree of closure. I don't know if there's such a thing as closure, but can you address that, please?
yeah. Well, my son was. We actually went to see him because he moved to Florida, and he's living near Universal Studios. So he asked if we'd come see him and go to Universal Studios, and I will say I will not be going back there anytime soon because I I mean it's just too close. People are on top of each other,
Hmm.
and that's partially I think a major way of why things are spiking. So anyway, um, we were having this conversation because he was upset that one of his teachers was resigning teaching yoga, and so then we work process through his reflection in that because anything that bothers me, it's bothering me. It's not bothering that other person. They're just doing what they're doing. And so we went through that. And as we were talking, all these people that were in line were listening and nodding their head and being like, yeah, I really understand that this person that I'm upset with is a reflection of myself and how can I move forward. And we processed all of that. But what came through that has been big in my life, especially of late with Corona, is here we were talking about an idea, even though he was upset with someone else, right? Instead of talking about that person being a bad person or whatever, we were talking about the idea of elevating his life, and other people were gaining from it. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, now when we got out of line after we had bought our tickets, myself, my wife, and his girlfriend, and I said, look at what just happened in the 45 minutes, which it took 45 minutes to get our tickets. Look what happened as we were talking about. People were talking about it. They were basically clapping about it and just being excited about that. And so what came forward was, okay, let's spend the rest of the day only talking about ideas that elevate us. If we're in line, nothing about a person other than, what we're doing. And I watched that elevate all of us through the whole day because we were standing in line talking and different ideas and creating different scenarios. Like
There
I
was one question you asked your
yeah.
son. There was one question that was really very impactful that you asked your son about if you died.
Oh, see, now that was a different article. Okay.
Okay.
So when I asked my son that he was, gosh, Trent, my other son, he was probably 12 years old. And I asked him, what are you going to do if I die? And he responded quick. And he was just like, I'm going to keep on living. I'm the one alive. I've got to keep living. And I kind of tilted my head. I remember feeling like, man, really? And he was like, no, I'll miss you, but I have to live. And I was like, I raised you to really embody that. I just didn't know that you were going to come back with it so quickly. And it hit me.
You
And
raised a good son.
it was like, whoa, did you really say that? And so it was really, uh, for people today, I've always viewed death as not about the person who dies, but about the people who are living and how they can elevate their life. Because the person who dies is transitioned, and we don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but they've left the body. And so the person that still is invested in the experience are the people that are alive. And so that's what he had taken away. Like he knows that when I go, he's got to keep living and live for himself, do better than what was, and live for those that are still here. And So yeah, they're all really special in their own ways and do different things.
I love the maturity, and
Yeah,
I love that they're very resilient that way because oftentimes, you're so engulfed in grief that you forget how it is to live again, and looking at it from a different perspective, like you and your children. I'm sure that your other children see it that way because of you are the architect of the art of peaceful living, right? So if I may also share, like, as I remember, like, I'm smiling listening to you because I've been widowed before, within 8 months of my wedding day, to pancreatic cancer. And it was heart-wrenching. It crushed me, and it was not easy to be able to just get back up and say, like, okay, I gotta continue living. However, we have to make decisions in our lives, right? So, there's nothing that I can do. I cannot undo it. I cannot bring that person back to life. And how can I perpetuate a legacy of resilience as a result? How can I help others who have been through what I've been through be able to go through their darkest moments as well? And and that's how basically I have made my decision. And so I'm smiling because I said, okay, this is in keeping with the art of peaceful living. And that is the reason why I feel serene. And that as much as I miss the loved ones that I have transitioned, I know deep in my heart I've done everything I can to make their lives, joyful and to bring value to them. Now, talk to us about your art of peaceful living. Now, what would with people going through so much chaos and confusion right now, what three important tips can you share for us to be able to have peaceful living?
well, I'd say first, one really simple one is to gain access to conscious breathing. And what that looks like to me is, and it's funny, just even in this conversation, I remember how people really struggle to come to peace, but they relate to and understand what it is to be in anxiety or pain or guilt or shame. And so when someone is stuck in a pattern like that, first, for me, it's art. Acknowledge what's going on. And as they acknowledge that, it's like I feel myself in anxiety. Now, receive what's possible. So I know if I'm not in anxiety, I can step into peace. So coming into 7 breaths, standing in your own 2 feet, acknowledging that anxiety is happening. And then after those 7 breaths, transform. And all transformation has to do is step into peace, like standing in your 2 feet, and then step over a line, and say to yourself, I'm stepping into peace. That changes it on a cellular level for someone. So that's one for sure. Just really taking that time to acknowledge and receive and then transform, creating the art.
I love the acronym, the art. When I see, like, I thought that just, I thought you were just describing the art of peaceful living, but I did not realize that those actually translate into actionable
Yeah.
steps, right? And so, when oftentimes we don't acknowledge it, right? Like we feel like, we just denial. You think that it will just go away, right? And what would you say to people who may not, they think that they're in denial, or it's like, oh, this is, they brush it off and give it a different name. Like, what would be the gracious way of actually acknowledging that we're going through anxiety or whatever stressful situation we may be in?
Well, it's so important because love is everything. Like, I'm not saying love is God. God is love, but love is everything. Everything expressed from God is a variation of love. Everything. And so anything that I do with something, I'm loving it. I'm helping it grow. If I'm hating it, if I'm denying it, I'm actually like, to deny something, I have to turn my back to it and think about something else. So I've just stuck it in a corner and let it grow. So that's the first thing, is truly acknowledge what's there, and then stop giving it love. The actual opposite of love is indifference, nothing. So if I give something nothing, it starts to die off. So by acknowledging it first and knowing it's there, then stop feeding it and let it die off. It's like this big plant I have behind me. I give it love all the time and it grows. And if I speak to it well, the leaves come up, right? If I disregard it, the leaves droop. And that's the same thing that happens energetically for us. So knowing that I'm consciously letting go of the need to give it love so that it can die off.
You're a young father, right? Um,
I'm maybe not as young as you think.
well, you certainly look very youthful, so just receive it.
I'm down for that. Yeah.
Keep it coming, right? So anyway, okay. So during lockdown, like teenagers are spending more time with their families indoors, and suddenly many people don't have big quarters where you can have your own little sanctuary. Now, how do you maintain peace and order in a home where you now get to be on top of one another, and then there's like technology and you have all different demands, you miss your friends? How can you create a peaceful environment in a place like that?
Well, one, be the example. I think that's a big part in my life. Uh, I can remember when my children were younger, uh, they would look up if something happened to see how I was going to move from, react to, or whatever, consciously move from what happened. And if, like, for instance, a snake on the ground, if a snake's on the ground and I'm with little ones and I freak out, the next time they see a snake, they think that's what you're supposed to do. So by being the example of what it can look like, I remember when my children were younger, way before, just back in the 90s, when they were starting school and stuff, and they needed to get ready for school. So their mom was with them 7 days a week. So often it was a tussle to get them ready. And I remember coming home, and I was coaching football at the time. And so I was like, I'll get them ready and you can have Fridays off. Even though that's the only day I get off, it's not even a day, it's a few hours before I go to practice. I'm going to do this. And so I taught them what I called the whisper game. And it meant that we were going to whisper about everything in the morning. And the game was to beat their mom to the car. And so that was the example. And we were whispering. And I remember the first time they got in the car and they were ready and they already had their breakfast and they were dressed. And she's like, "Where are the kids?" I'm like, "They're in the car. It's okay." She's like, "They're in the car." And the kids were like, "Yeah, we were so good. You don't even know where we are."
My goodness. And I bet they were very, very proud of themselves as well.
Yeah.
Well, you are obviously a shining example of that. I hope you wrote that in a book because so many parents can actually learn from that. Do you have any book?
Yeah, I actually have 3 books.
Oh, yeah, 6 books you said, right?
Yeah, I have 6.
Yeah, that's awesome.
2 of them are group books. So there's a bunch of us that wrote. Then another one I took off the shelf because I redid it. And so 6 total books. But Yoga and Life Empowerment, Those Who Know God, and The Warrior Within are the main books that are out right now.
Well, do you have a website where they can find your books?
Yes, artofpeacefulLiving.com. And as soon as you just scroll down, and the books are down at the bottom. So
no. Well, you are the coach to teacher, coach to coaches, teacher to teachers. But how about ordinary people who may want to be able to learn from you the art of peaceful living? Do you have any programs available for ordinary people who are not coaches or teachers?
Yeah, we do. I do a mentor program that helps people walk through and really begin to understand how to move beyond the anxiety in their life, how to let go of and bring peace to everything, whether it's financial security. All of those things, at least in my life, have increased because of my access to peace. So I'm never just falling down in a hole. You know, the law of holes. How do you get out of a hole? First thing you have to do is stop digging. And so,
Digging. Makes perfect sense. Makes
yeah,
perfect sense.
until you've heard it, people don't even realize it. At least I didn't. It was like, how do I get out of this hole? And then I would go spend on a credit card or do something like that to get out of financial debt. And so, first place, stop digging, you know, and live within your means, elevate and see how you can hold peace. Part of something that's really created that space as I've gone past half a century. Part of the thing that's really elevated for me is I created a lifestyle that allowed all of those things to stop. Like, for instance, my wife and I go surf usually once or twice a weekend because she works during the week. And it's free once we bought the surfboard. But yet we come away entertained, happy, refreshed, open to the next thing. And we didn't spend anything but gas to get to where, if we want to drive to the place, otherwise we could walk around the corner. We've created that life. So I love helping people look at their life and create a peaceful life that's sustainable for the rest of their life. So
Yeah,
yes.
I love it. Like surfing. Who, I actually first heard it as I thought surf. Both are very positive, right? But
Yeah.
like I love it. I love it. Now, tell me something. Are you going to be at David Fagan's Top Talent event next week?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been there every time since my first one. And so I just enjoy it. I
Yeah,
enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy being able to continue to craft my own delivery about myself. Uh,
mhm.
and then David's just a sharp guy. And so I enjoy spending time with him and Isabel and all the people that come through. I mean, it's just in this time, in Those Who Know God, I write about how to create your team. You've got to have a coach and you've got to have great teammates. And I love going to the top talent because I find new teammates, people, and it can be as simple as a conversation later
Like
that,
what we're having right now,
yeah,
right?
exactly, that just elevates and we keep rising together. Rising tide lifts all boats, and so it's great to be in that sense of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so different when we go to a place like that because there's a lot of networking events that you can go to, but everybody's just like so eager to just sell you something. This is very, very different. It's very educational, and what I love most about it is that it gives you the chance to connect with people. And then I love the little breakout rooms, and that's how you can kind of mess up a little bit if you need to work on your elevator pitch. So we can give each other feedback. That's absolutely phenomenal. And as I've said, that the people, the caliber and quality of people that you will be meeting is quite impressive. And when you find those people that will be right for your team, all you need is to be able to connect with one or two people that are right for your life, right? And so before we go now, for first of all, I'm very excited to see you again on the next Top Talent JV. That's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week, August 16th to 18th. It's year 2021 because we're going to have this in on YouTube forever. People would probably say, oh, it may be already 2025 by then, right? So and I was like, oh, Furley said it's 16 to 18. But anyway, so I'm very excited to see you there, and I hope that you get to meet your I get to meet your wife also, because I love now the whisper game. Like now, I'm going to actually share that as well with others because it's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm also going to share your post about what your son Trent said about you when you die, because we all will, we just don't know when, and how we can continue to live in peace, when the loved ones that we have so dear are gone. And that's one way we honor their legacy, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, my darling. Any last words before we go?
Well, along the lines of leaving, I will say that my elders live on through me. They're never gone. Like their DNA made me. So they're honor them in that way, to really hold up the energy that has created each and every one of us by living well beyond what was done before. And I look forward to Monday. What is the time again?
It is by invitation only. It's
Yeah.
8 a.m. Pacific to 2 p.m. And we have bonus sessions actually before and after. So, if you want to come on ahead of time, it's good because like you'll be able to ask questions that you may not be able to ask during the actual session. So, we have bonus sessions as well. So definitely. And you said that you have already invited a number of people, right?
Yeah, I sure have. So if someone wants to get an invite from me, just direct message me and I'll give you the link to be invited. That's another thing I love about it. It's kind of like it gives way to knowing that if someone's taken the time to invite someone, they've taken the time to connect with them and know that they're like everybody else in the room. And not that there's anything wrong with being different than I or you or David or Isabel or anybody, but it's great to be around like-minded people and elevate together. So I'm excited for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rising tides lift everybody, right? So anyway, tell us again, what does art stand for?
Art, acknowledge, receive, and transform. Art of peaceful living.
Whew, there you go. That is your message for the day. All right. Thank you so very much, Sid. It was such a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a delightful weekend. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye now.